Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video I am going to be giving you the latest news regarding Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. I have been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Jadon Sancho on a regular basis. As you all know, he is our number one priority target for the summer transfer window. Now, recent reports have said that we are looking to sell around 6 players to fund a move for Jadon Sancho. And the 6 players we are looking to offload is Alexis Sanchez, he's one of them. Alexis Sanchez is out on loan with Inter Milan at the moment. Obviously, he's going to stay at Inter Milan for the remainder of the season. Is Sanchez. Like I said, Inter Milan got him on a 10-month loan last summer. Inter Milan have got no option to buy Sanchez, or there is no obligation to buy. I recently read though that Inter Milan were interested in getting Sanchez on a permanent transfer, but maybe we're going to find it difficult to get rid of him permanently, reflecting on his substantial wages. Sanchez's wages at Man United are like 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week based on the image rights and the bonuses. And I don't want Sanchez to come back to Manchester United because he did endure a difficult 18 months with the football club, did Sanchez. We got him in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. And we thought he would have lived up to expectations, but he didn't, Alexis Sanchez. He didn't live up to expectations, and he failed to rediscover the form of what he produced in his 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal. He also did well with Barcelona when he was younger under Pep Guardiola's guidance, did Sanchez. Sanchez has still got a contract with us until 2022, but despite the fact that Sanchez is on loan at Inter Milan, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. I still believe we're paying like Sanchez 300 grand a week, and Inter Milan are paying like the other 100-odd thousand pounds a week. Sanchez, was injured for a while with Inter Milan. I think he had a dislocated ankle and he was out for like 3 months. Don't forget, Solskjaer did say back in January he would come back to prove everybody wrong. And he said a month or so ago now, that Sanchez would be coming back to the club on one condition, and that's if he was willing to accept a squad role. But we are looking to get rid of him permanently, so he's one of the players. We're also looking to get rid of Jesse Lingard. Like I said, reflects on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club and reflects on the number of years he's been here. He should be, putting much more better performances out, but obviously, he isn't doing that. Jesse Lingard has not registered 1 goal or 1 assist in the Premier League for over a year now, so that just indicates how inconsistent he is. I think as Lingard got a year left on his contract, or just under a year left on his Man United contract, I think there's also an option of a further year. He is very, very inconsistent, is Jesse Lingard, probably the worst Manchester United player. I heard recently that a few clubs have been interested in him. I think we would want around 25 to 30 million pounds, if we are to get rid of Jesse Lingard. So he's another player, we're looking to offload. Also, too, we're looking to offload Diego Dalot. He's another player, we're looking to get rid of. I don't think he's good enough to represent Manchester United, and that was proven in the 2-1 win against Norwich in the FA Cup quarter-final. He looked far too exposed. Norwich got in behind Diego Dalot far too easily. And Diego Dalot had a few injuries earlier on in the season. That's why he wasn't playing. So he's hardly played this season for Man United. Dalot is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. I think Diego Dalot now has been at the football club for just over 18 months, so he's been here over a year and a half. We did get him in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We paid £19 million in from Porto, and he signed a contract with us until 2023, did Diego Dalot. A few times he has played on that right wing, as Diego Dalot. So I think, we're looking to get rid of him. He said a while ago that Barca and PSG were interested in him. I think we'd want in the 30-odd million pound range if we had to get rid of Diego Dalot. And the other 2 players we're looking to get rid of is Chris Smalling and Marcus Rojo. As you all know, at the moment, Smalling's out on loan with Roma. And he's going to be staying with Roma until the end of the season because his loan recently got extended. Don't forget, Paulo Finesca was talking a while about the Roma boss, saying that Chris Smalling wants to stay at Roma, and Chris Smalling revealed himself that he's got no regrets leaving Manchester United. Don't forget Smalling did endure 9 years with us, so he was a long-serving player for the football club, was Chris Smalling. I think we did say that we'd want around £20 million to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. Like I said, Marcus Rojo's out on loan at Estudiantes. We're looking to get rid of him on a permanent transfer as well. Marcus Rojo. I think, we could also try and get rid of Phil Jones. This has been Phil Jones' 9th season at Manchester United. So we're looking to get rid of at least 6 players. And they're the 6 players I've just mentioned to you, to fund the move for Jadon Sancho. Now, Borussia Dortmund have come out and they have said they are now looking for replacements for Jadon Sancho because I think, they know that Jadon Sancho wants to leave. It's reportedly said as well, we have now got the funds to get Jadon Sancho. It recently said that we're only willing to pay £50 million for the player. We know that £50 million is going to be nowhere near enough to convince Borussia Dortmund to offload him because Dortmund have said several times that they want at least £100 million for him. But we've also said several times we are not willing to smash our transfer record for the player. We're not willing to smash our transfer record for the player. It's also come out in one report saying that if we were to get qualification for the Champions League, it says, Jadon Sancho's move to Manchester United could be off. Now, don't forget, Jadon Sancho did say he is willing to put a transfer request in, or could put a transfer request in, if Dortmund refused to let him come to Manchester United. Now, there were stories coming out the other week, and like I've updated you already, this was stemming from Ian McGarry, who was a transfer expert. It was also stemming from Duncan Castles. He tends to be close to United, and they both said that Jadon Sancho had agreed personal terms with Man United, and he has agreed a 5-year contract worth around £140,000 a week. It's replicating there what it had said in February, because revert back to February, it said Jadon Sancho had agreed almost every little detail of the move to Man United. The only thing that's not being agreed is the fee. It's Borussia Dortmund's asking price that seems to be the stumbling block, because we're not willing to meet what Borussia Dortmund are demanding. Don't forget, Fabrizio Romano has spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times. And, he revealed a while back that, we've been working on Jadon Sancho's contract for a while. And he also said we've been in negotiations with his agent for a while. And we've already made a promise to Jadon Sancho that we are willing to offer him the number 7. Because, we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. But we first expressed our interest in Sancho back in 2017. And since then, we have been in for the player. Yeah, last month he had the Borussia Dortmund CEO. He came out and said that Jadon Sancho is likely to stay at Dortmund because he's convinced that no club's willing to meet their valuation. Then you had Lucien Favre last month, the Borussia Dortmund boss. He made an admission saying that Jadon Sancho could still leave Borussia Dortmund in the summer transfer window. Jadon Sancho's got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. Now, don't forget there were stories coming out quite a few weeks ago as well saying that Sancho was willing to make a return to Manchester City because we've been struggling to meet their asking price. But Pep Guardiola at Manchester City has distanced himself away from it. You've had Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. He's distanced himself away from Sancho. But don't forget, Sancho is a former Manchester City player. He had a couple of years with Man City, but the main explanation why he left Manchester City is because he did not get any first-team opportunities at City. Dortmund got him for like £8 million in 2017, so Dortmund got him for next to nothing. And this has now been Sancho's 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. It's been his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. And analyse his performances in the few years he's been with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown. Of course, Chelsea have also been in for Jadon Sancho in the past, but I think he's already revealed that his preferred option would be moved to Manchester United if he decides to leave Borussia Dortmund. I've already given you the reasons why I'd take Sancho at Man United is because he's well proven in the Premier League, plus he's got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford, and don't forget we are in search for a right winner. You know, quite a few weeks ago as well, it did say that Jadon Sancho had been fined around £8,000 for breaking lockdown rules, and reflecting on that, he said that Borussia Dortmund were losing their patience with Jadon Sancho. They were losing their patience with him. You know, but yeah, so hopefully, you know, we can get Jadon Sancho on the board. He is only at the age of 20. He is only the age of 20. Don't forget, you know, Dortmund are known as a selling football club because they have let quite a few of their players go to the Premier League in recent years. And there's also, you know, players that they've let go who also didn't go to the Premier League. But they have recruited a few players in recent years, have Borussia Dortmund. So Jadon Sancho at Man United is still a possibility. We just need to come to an agreement on a fee with Borussia Dortmund. That's all we need to do. We are looking at alternatives to Jadon Sancho. It's recently said that Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona, you know, we're seeing him as one of the alternatives to Jadon Sancho. And don't get me wrong, you know, Ousmane Dembele would be a much cheaper solution than Jadon Sancho, wouldn't he? Probably an estimated guess, you'd probably get Ousmane Dembele from around 35 to 40 million pounds. I think, you know, this has been Ousmane Dembele's third season with Barcelona. My only element of concern about Ousmane Dembele is that he is injury prone. I think he has got still a few years left on his contract with Barcelona. You know, can play on the left wing, he can also play him centrally, and he is only very, very young. Barcelona paid around 95, or was it 96 million pounds up front for him, with around 40 million in add-ons. So the deal was worth around, was it 135 to 140 million pounds or something like that. So Ousmane Dembele is on that list as one of the most expensive signings. I also thought Ousmane Dembele was very, very good when he was at Borussia Dortmund. Before he was at Borussia Dortmund, he was at Rennes. But yeah, he would be a much cheaper solution than Jadon Sancho, you know, with Ousmane Dembele. In recent weeks, you know, we've been looking at Rabbi Matondo from Schalke. You know, we've been looking at Figo Almeida. There are other alternatives as well. So there you go. Obviously, you know, earlier on today, I give you the breaking news, didn't I, on Paul Pogba. I also mentioned Paul Pogba on the video that I did yesterday night. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Paul Pogba to commit his long-term future with Manchester United. And he's hopeful, you know, that he will sign a new contract at Man United. Now, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that we are now in negotiations with Pogba's agent Mino Raiola over extending Paul Pogba's contract at the football club. Now, as it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. I think Paul Pogba will definitely be at Manchester United next season. He will be at Manchester United next season. And he recently spoken about Paul Pogba, how Manchester United, you know, can become a top team again. You know, he knows that we've improved so much because, you know, we are in a good vein of form at the moment. We are in a good vein of form at the moment. He did say, you know, Paul Pogba, that he's now enjoying his football at Old Trafford. Now, since the resumption of the season, I think, you know, Paul Pogba's done very, very well. You know, he's been involved a lot. His combination, you know, with Bruno Fernandes has also been fantastic. But I think that partnership between Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes is definitely, you know, the best midfield partnership in the Premier League. Now, of course, you know, we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba, so as it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing. Also, one of the highest paid players at the football club, because Paul Pogba is on just under 300 grand a week at Manchester United. If he's to sign a new long-term contract, Paul Pogba, then obviously, you know, his wages will increase and then probably will end up becoming our highest paid player, let alone, you know, our most expensive signing. But if we was to get Paul Pogba a new contract, you know, would that then put Jack Grealish's move to Man United in doubt? Because, you know, Jack Grealish is one of our priority targets, don't forget. You know, Solskjaer recently warned our players, you know, to be aware of Jack Grealish in the game tonight against Aston Villa. I think Jack Grealish is valued at around £50 million. But at one point, it was looking very, very imminent that Paul Pogba was going to be leaving the football club. You know, don't forget last summer, he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. But the main explanation why his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise last summer was reflecting on the substantial amount we put in, because we said last summer we wanted 180 million for Pogba. We wanted £180 million for Paul Pogba. Real Madrid were not willing to meet that valuation. But he publicly admitted last summer that he wanted to leave the football club. There was also talks of Paul Pogba going back to Juventus, because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. Barcelona and, PSG have also been in for him in the past. But yeah, he did want to leave the club for quite some time. Pogba's agent Mino Raiola did have negotiations with Juventus. He also had negotiations with Real Madrid and all of that. But at least in the last couple of years, Mino Raiola's been working on getting his client a transfer away from Manchester United completed. But I didn't really have a perception on Paul Pogba earlier on in the season because he hardly played. He hardly played for the football club. But since the resumption of the season, I've really had a perception on him. I think we made a mistake by getting rid of Pogba when he was younger, because don't forget we had him under the Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. Don't forget Paul Pogba endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, but Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the football club. And Solskjaer knows Pogba very, 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 very well anyway, because he watched Paul Pogba grow and develop in the Manchester United reserve team, because Solskjaer managed our reserve team from 2008, I think, until 2010. So we know Pogba is staying at the football club and could be, the next player to sign a new contract. It's a good thing, that we've extended a lot of players' contracts since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into the football club. The recent player to sign a new contract was Nemanja Matic. It got confirmed on Monday that Nemanja Matic had signed a 3-year contract with the club to keep him with us until 2023. It wasn't too long ago that we'd extended Matic's contract by a further 12 months. But he deserves it, reflecting on his good run of performances. He's been one of our first choices recently. Before the lockdown, McTominay was playing a lot, but after lockdown, since we come out of lockdown, Matic, has been getting a bit more game time. Earlier on in the season, Matic was behind the likes of Fred, McTominay and Pereira, but he's become an integral part of the team. This is now Matic's 3rd season at the club. We paid £40 million to him, from Chelsea back in 2017. But yeah, we are still facing a dilemma regarding the contracts, like I mentioned before, because we've still got 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year, and Solskjaer's got to make a decision on, these 8 players. Like I said, Pogba's contract expires next year, but there's an option of a further year. Mata, his contract expires next year, but there's also an option of a further year. You've got Lee Grant, his expires next year. Sergio Romero's, his expires next year. So too does Joe Pereira's. Lingard's does. Andres Pereira's does. These quite a few. Marcus Rojo, Alex Tuanzebe. So Solskjaer's got to make a decision on all of them players. So there you go. I've already given you my preview for the Aston Villa game, and I've already given you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. I will be giving you my match reaction probably tomorrow morning, more than likely. Probably won't have time to do it tonight. Like I said, we should win the game tonight against Aston Villa. We've got a very, very good record against them. We've only lost once in our last 42 Premier League games against Aston Villa. And I think we've only lost 3 in our last 49 games against Aston Villa. We haven't lost at Villa Park since 1995, so that's 25 years ago now. We're unbeaten in our last 20 away games against Aston Villa. Like I said, we're fighting for that top 4. And obviously, Aston Villa are facing a relegation battle. Like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, we've got to win all our 5 remaining games, to get a top 4 finish. And obviously, to get qualification for the Champions League. And Solskjaer was recently talking about the importance of Champions League qualification. We need Champions League qualification, to help us have more of a competitive summer transfer market. Also, too, will generate money if we get qualification for the Champions League. If we beat Villa tonight, we'll go 2 points behind Chelsea, and 1 point behind Leicester. There's still a possibility chance, we can finish third. Like I said, we can win 2 trophies this season under Solskjaer, and that's the FA Cup and the Europa League. That's the FA Cup and the Europa League. We're in to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and we're more or less into the last 8 of the Europa League because we are 5-0 up against Lask from the first leg. So let's just put that into the equation. We haven't won out in terms of silverware since 2017, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. We won them in his first season. Also, too, won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal back in 2016. So we've only won 3 trophies, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. So that just indicates how inconsistent we have been. But I'm very, very convinced that we'll beat Aston Villa. If we win tonight, we won't only go 2 points behind Chelsea. We'll also extend our unbeaten run to 17 games in all competitions. As it stands at the moment, we are unbeaten in our last 16 games in all competitions. And I think we're unbeaten in our last 9 Premier League games. But in this unbeaten run, I've seen a hell of a lot of improvements. We're creating more chances. We're scoring more goals. We defensively also look better than that. And there's things that Solskjaer's improved on as well. His decision making's really, really improved because earlier on in the season, a lot of decisions Solskjaer was making weren't right. He didn't really have a plan A, didn't really have a plan B, and just in general didn't really know how to change a game and that. But I think now, with his tactical changes made, it seems to be working. He knows his best 11 and he also knows his best formation. He's made a lot of rotation throughout the course of this season, but that's reflected on the injuries that we had earlier on in the season. But, earlier on in the season, we missed Marcus Rashford through injury. We also missed Paul Pogba through injury because, they are 2 very, very good players. Since the resumption of the season, I think we've registered 10 points so far from a possible 12. So that's obviously, very, very good. That is, very, very good and all of that. But, I think, we're going to finish the season on a high. And Solskjaer recently challenged us to go unbeaten for the remainder of the season. Like I said, Jack Grealish will be playing for Aston Villa tonight because Dean Smith's confirmed this. Tyrone Mings should be involved. I think he sustained a knock recently, didn't he? They've got Wesley out. They've got Tom Eaton out. Wesley out, Tom Eaton, and they've got Matthew Targett out as well of Aston Villa. So they have got a few injuries. I thought they was unlucky against Liverpool. They did lose 2-0, but Aston Villa did have their chances in that game. Obviously, in the last 3 league games, Solskjaer's gone with the exact same team. That's the first time we've done that since November 2006. I think he'll probably make 1 or 2 changes tonight, so he will make a bit of rotation. I don't think Vitz Lindelof's going to be involved. He says Vitz Lindelof's a doubt because he sustained a back injury in our 5-2 win against Bournemouth. So probably, Victor Lindelof, he's not going to be playing. So Bay will play ahead of Vitz Lindelof. That may be the only change that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make, or maybe he could make another change. He could drop Mason Greenwood and he could play Daniel James ahead of Mason Greenwood instead. I think it's just hard to drop Mason Greenwood though, because Mason Greenwood has been in really, really good form recently. He scored twice against Bournemouth. He also scored in the 3-0 win against Brighton, and Mason Greenwood is on 15 goals this season. Solskjaer did recently say that Mason Greenwood is ready to play for England at senior level. And he also said, Mason Greenwood's a much better finisher than Wayne Rooney was at the same age. But he's definitely, the foreseeable future for Manchester United is Mason Greenwood. He really, really is. And being very, very, delighted with him. But I've been delighted, with our attacking line. I think Greenwood, Rashford and Martial, between them, they've got 55 goals in all competitions this season. But I think he'll make a couple of changes tonight. Lineup, it won't be long anyway, before the lineup is announced. When I do my videos, sometimes it takes time, for them to upload. But yeah, Solskjaer said, we've got to be aware of Jack Grealish. David De Gea is going to be making his 399th appearance for the club tonight. He's about to overtake Peter Schmeichel on appearances and that. And Solskjaer says, David De Gea has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years or so. So the news on that. Solskjaer did say recently as well that he feels vindicated in his decision to let Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez leave the football club. Don't forget, he said after our 5-2 win against Bournemouth that Solskjaer was talking to Nathan Ake. He said he allegedly said to Nathan Ake that we need a left-footed centre-back. But Solskjaer actually, laughed at the suggestions off. He said, he just basically, never remembered that happening and that. And on that particular story, it's just the media justifying their existence and all of that. But yeah, I'm hopeful, that we can win tonight against Villa. Like I said, we've got 5 games remaining. Solskjaer said we haven't got an easy running because we have still got points to prove against the teams that we struggled against earlier on in the season. But, like I said, Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season, even if we didn't get qualification for the Champions League. Because there's been a lot of improvements under him. Solskjaer has now been at the football club for 18 months. I think he's been permanent Manchester United manager for around 15 months. Earlier on in the season, we was facing a relegation battle, and earlier on in the season, we'd endured our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And at that point, there was talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in, and there was also talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in and that. But I've already given you the reasons why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't get sacked as Manchester United manager. The summer transfer window will be Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as Man United manager. Like I said, so far Solskjaer's enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the football club and spent just over £200 million. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. I think over 20 players have left Man United, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into the club. Like I said, he's also promoted the youth very, very well, which is very, very good to see. Which is very, very good to see. Our net debt is just over 429 million because the other month our debt had risen up by almost 130 million pounds. It also said before the resumption of the season that we'd actually taken a £140 million loan as well, to help us, get the players that we do want in. But we've got to make signings in the summer transfer window. Solskjaer has confirmed his transfer priorities. I think, he wants to recommend a striker and a right midfielder in and a centre defensive mid. And there's still reports saying that he wants to recommend a centre half in as well. But, Solskjaer, I think, is looking to make at least around 2 or 3 signings in the summer transfer window. They've got to be the right calibre players because Solskjaer did say he will avoid buying any rotten apples in the squad in the summer transfer window. Because he warned our players the other week, he will not tolerate any rotten apples in the squad. He won't do that. But like I said, next season, our expectations will be to challenge for the title, because this has been the 7th season now. We have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. Because at the moment, you've got City that strides ahead of us and Liverpool that strides ahead of us. But I think we're capable of challenging for the league next season. I think at some point we'll get a title under Solskjaer. If we can do that, it will be our 21st title because as it stands at the moment, we have won 20 titles and 13 Premier Leagues. I think the trophies we've won overall is around 45. Is it something like Liverpool have won like 47 or 48? But we are still the most successful team in England at the moment. In the last 7 years, we have been playing catch-up, because we've had different managers with different philosophies. We have spent close to the £1 billion range on players, and we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. We've recruited over 30-odd players in and that. But I have been getting glimpses of the Alex Ferguson days, in this unbeaten run and that. I still can't say, if Solskjaer's the right man. The real test for Solskjaer is next season. That's when we'll know if he's the right man. It's good as well because Solskjaer's gained more managerial experience, reflecting on how long, he's been here now. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Of course, the club's greatest achievement was the treble in 1999, which is over 20 years ago now, and that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a Manchester United player. That was his most iconic moment. Like I said to you, I'm not sure how much we're going to get to spend in the summer transfer window because of the financial impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. I think clubs will make a decision on their transfer budgets once a decision has been made on when fans, can go back to games. So there you go. But, we may not even make any Galactico signings, we may not get any Galactico signings, and, we could just maybe may get a couple of average players in, I don't know. But if we get Sancho, you can say that's a Galactico signing and that. But we shall see. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.